For 3 years, I thought Alex was the most insufferable person I'd ever met. Arrogant, condescending, always had to be right about everything. And then we got trapped together on a work project for 6 weeks. By week 2, I realized the person I'd been hatting wasn't the person standing in front of me at all. By week 6, I was in love with him. My name is Maya. I'm 33 now, but this story starts when I was 30 and absolutely certain that some people are just impossible to get along with. I worked at a design firm. Mid-sized, competitive, the kind of place where everyone's trying to prove they're the smartest person in the room. Alex started 6 months after me, software engineer, brilliant according to everyone, also according to me completely insufferable. Our first meeting, he corrected me in front of the entire team. I'd been presenting a design concept, explaining how the user interface would work, and he interrupted. "Actually," he said, with that particular tone that makes your jaw clench, "that's not how the backend functions. You need to restructure the entire data flow for that to work." I stared at him. I'm aware of how the backend works. I was simplifying for the presentation. Right, but if you're simplifying incorrectly, you're just creating confusion. The room went silent. I felt my face get hot. "Thanks for the input," I said, voice tight. "I'll take it under advisement." That was the first of approximately 800 times Alex would correct me, contradict me, or generally make me want to throw my laptop across the room. And I'm sure, from his perspective, I was just as annoying, always pushing back, always defending my ideas, never just accepting that he might be right. You might be wondering why we didn't just avoid each other. We tried, but we worked on overlapping projects, design and engineering. We had to interact, and every interaction was a battle. The nightmare began with an email from our boss. Subject line, new project assignment. A major client, 6-week deadline, complete redesign of their platform, and the team was me and Alex. Just us. I read the email 3 times, convinced it was a mistake. I walked to my boss's office. "Jennifer, I think there's been a miscommunication. The email says it's just me and Alex on the Northbridge project." "That's correct. But we don't work well together." She looked at me over her glasses. "You're both my best people. This client is important. I need you two to figure it out. Can't we add someone else to the team? Literally anyone else. Budget's tight. It's you and Alex, make it work." I went back to my desk and stared at my computer screen. 6 weeks, alone with the most irritating person I'd ever met. This was going to be hell. The first week proved me right. We couldn't agree on anything. Color schemes, user flow, data architecture. Every decision was a negotiation that ended with both of us frustrated. "You're not listening," he'd say. "I'm listening, I just think you're wrong," I'd reply. "You always think I'm wrong." "Because you usually are." We'd stay late, working in tense silence, occasionally breaking it to argue about something trivial. Whether the button should be blue or green, whether the navigation should be horizontal or vertical. It was exhausting. Week 2 started with a crisis. The client hated our initial mock-ups, wanted everything redone, and the deadline hadn't changed. Alex and I sat in the conference room at 9 p.m., surrounded by coffee cups and crumpled sketches, staring at the rejection email. "This is a disaster," I said. "It's fixable," Alex said, but he didn't sound convinced. "We have 4 weeks to completely start over." "I'm aware of the timeline, Maya." I looked at him, really looked at him for the first time in a year. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes. His usually immaculate shirt was wrinkled. He'd been running his hands through his hair so much it was standing up at odd angles. "When's the last time you went home?" I asked. He blinked, surprised by the question. Tuesday." "It's Thursday." I know. Something shifted in me, a crack in the wall of irritation I'd built around him. "You can't keep working without sleep," I said. "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You look like you're about to pass out." He laughed. It was bitter. Yeah, well, this project fails, we both look bad, but I'm the engineer. They'll blame the technical implementation, which means they'll blame me. I hadn't thought about that. Hadn't thought about what he was carrying. I'd been so focused on proving him wrong that I hadn't considered he might be scared too. We're not going to fail, I said. He looked at me. How are you so sure? Because we can't, so we won't. He smiled, a real smile this time, small but genuine. That's not actually how probability works. I don't care about probability. I care about results. That's, he paused, actually a pretty good philosophy. We worked until midnight, but something had changed. We weren't fighting, we were problem solving. When I suggested something, he'd consider it instead of immediately shooting it down. When he pushed back, I'd listen instead of getting defensive. It wasn't easy, but it was different. Week 3, we started staying later. Not because we had to, but because we were actually making progress. The ideas were flowing. The design and the engineering were clicking together in ways they hadn't before. One night around 11, I made a joke about the client's terrible logo. Alex laughed. Actually laughed. Not the polite professional laugh, the real one. I've been wanting to say that for 2 years, he said. Why didn't you? Because you'd probably use it against me in an argument. I stared at him. You think I'm that vindictive? He paused. I don't actually know what I think about you. What's that supposed to mean? It means I've spent 3 years assuming you hated me and building a case for why I should hate you back. And now I'm realizing maybe I don't actually know you at all. The air in the room felt different, thicker, charged. I don't hate you, I said quietly. You called me insufferable last month. To your face or behind your back? Behind my back, Sarah told me. I winced. Okay, yeah, that's fair, but in my defense you called me stubborn. You are stubborn. So are you. I know, he smiled. Maybe that's why we clash. Week 4, something shifted again. We started talking, not just about work, about real things. He told me about his family, how he'd grown up with a father who never thought he was smart enough, how every accomplishment was met with, you could have done better. How he'd learned to be perfect because anything less was failure. That's why you correct everyone, I said. You're trying to get it right. I'm trying to not be wrong, he said. There's a difference. And I told him about my family. How I'd grown up with 3 older brothers who never took me seriously. How I'd learned to fight for every opinion. How I'd learned that if you didn't stand your ground, people would walk right over you. That's why you push back on everything, he said. You're trying to be heard. I'm trying to not disappear, I said. We sat there in the conference room at 1 a.m, surrounded by our work, and I realized we were the same person, just wearing different armor. Week 5, we finished the project early. The client loved it. Our boss loved it. It was, objectively, the best work either of us had ever done. We make a good team, Alex said. We were in the conference room, packing up our materials, the space we'd lived in for 6 weeks. We do, I agreed. He was quiet for a moment. Then, Maya, can I ask you something? Sure. Why did you hate me? I stopped packing, looked at him. I didn't hate you. You did. For 3 years, I could feel it. I thought I did, I said slowly, but I don't think it was hate, I think it was fear. Fear of what? Fear that you were right, that I wasn't as good as I thought I was, that if I listened to you, I'd have to admit I didn't have all the answers. He was very still. I did the same thing. What? Pushed you away because you challenged me, because you made me question whether being right was the same as being good. The room felt small, or maybe we were just standing too close. Alex, I said, I don't think I understand what's happening right now. I think, he said carefully, we spent 3 years hating each other because we were too scared to admit we might actually like each other. My heart was pounding. That's a pretty big assumption. Is it wrong? I looked at him, really looked at him, the way he was standing, the way he was looking at me, like I was a puzzle he'd finally solved. No, I said, it's not wrong. So what do we do about it? I have no idea, I said. I've never stopped hating someone before. He laughed, stepped closer. Want to figure it out together? That sounds like the start of another argument. Probably, but at least this time we'd be arguing about something that matters. He kissed me, right there in the conference room at 2 a.m, surrounded by whiteboards and empty coffee cups and the remnants of 6 weeks of forced proximity. And it felt like the most inevitable thing in the world. That was 2 years ago. We've been together ever since. And no, it's not perfect. We still argue, we still clash. We're still both stubborn and defensive and convinced we're right. But now, when we argue, it's different. Because we're not trying to win, we're trying to understand. People at work think it's funny. How did you two end up together? They ask. You used to hate each other. And I always say the same thing. We never hated each other. We just didn't know how to see each other yet. Because that's what hate is, sometimes. It's not the opposite of love. It's just love that doesn't know what it is yet. It's connection that hasn't figured out how to be vulnerable. It's chemistry that's masking itself as conflict because conflict feels safer than admiration. Here's what I learned. The people who challenge you the most are often the people you need the most. The ones who push your buttons are sometimes pushing them because they see potential you don't see in yourself. The ones who frustrate you might be frustrating you because they're holding up a mirror, and you don't like what you see. Alex challenges me every day, questions my assumptions, makes me defend my ideas, refuses to let me be lazy or careless or anything less than my best. And I do the same for him. We don't complete each other. That's not how it works. We sharpen each other, like steel on steel. The friction creates something stronger than either of us could be alone. Last week, we were working on a new project, disagreeing about implementation, getting heated. And he stopped mid-argument and said, "I'm so glad I get to fight with you." I laughed. That's the weirdest romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. I mean it. Most people stop fighting when it gets hard. You never stop. You never give up on being understood. And I realized that's what love is, not the absence of conflict, but the commitment to keep showing up through the conflict, to keep trying to see the other person, to keep letting yourself be seen. We're getting married next year. Everyone thinks we're crazy. You fight all the time, they say. Yeah, we do. But we also laugh all the time. We challenge each other all the time. We grow all the time. And we see each other, really see each other. Not the armor we wear to work, not the defensive walls we build, but the actual people underneath. The person I thought I hated turned out to be the person I needed most. The antagonism was just proximity in disguise. The conflict was just chemistry we didn't know how to name. So if you're clashing with someone right now, if there's someone who drives you absolutely crazy, who challenges everything you say, who seems to exist solely to make your life difficult, maybe take a second look. Maybe ask yourself, what is this conflict actually about? What am I defending? What am I afraid they'll see if I let my guard down? Because sometimes, the person you think you can't stand is actually the person you can't stop thinking about. And the line between hate and love is thinner than you think. It took me 3 years and a 6-week project to cross that line. But now that I'm here, on the other side with Alex, I wouldn't go back for anything.